And welcome back to our coverage of CEDIA Expo 2010. I'm now sitting in the Priscilla screening room, and I'm joined by Andrew Poulain from THX and also Mike Hansen from Epic Home Cinema. Now, the Priscilla screening room is, I believe, the world's first THX certified screening room that's actually been built on a trade floor. Is that correct, Andrew?
That's correct, yes, it is.
So basically, I guess the first question I have to ask is, how does this differ from all the other screening rooms that are on the trade floor today?
Well, I think the difference is that we've actually been working with Epic for a long time on a strategy that meets a high level of isolation and acoustic control over the room that you would see in a regular screening room. Just because it's on a trade show floor, you don't have to have a poor performing room. We actually want to show off the quality of a good environment on this trade show floor. So we've spent time engineering a solution that really performs to a high level of quality.
Okay, so I guess, Mike, the question to you is, how did you achieve this? How did you build this screening room?
Lots of hard work for one. Lots of technique. Used lots of different kinds of equipment to provide isolation, such as hat channel, green glue, our acoustic fabrics on the wall, our panels. So
I mean, I understand that you actually assembled this somewhere else first.
we did. We assembled this at our shop. A lot of it was done right there. It took about a month and a half to build there. Assembled it in 5-foot sections, then broke it down, put it in a trailer, and then brought it back out here to assemble.
And how much time did it take to reassemble when you got to the trade floor?
It was a lot quicker the second time around since we had proven this design to work at the shop first. It took us about a day and a half to get the structure back up and another day to tweak out little details.
Okay. So, Andrew, from the point of view of building a screening room to THX specifications, what are the requirements? What do you need to do?
Sure. Well, there's three basic requirements that we're looking at. One is what we call our environmental and technical criteria have to be met, and that's aspects like the background noise level in the room, the isolation, as we talked about before, and also the aesthetics, to make sure that the aesthetics don't have a negative impact on the performance of the picture and sound system. The second requirement is the use of THX certified or THX approved audio, electronics, and loudspeaker systems. And then the third point is THX certified video products. Like in this particular room, we're using a THX certified Runco projector, we're using a THX certified Stewart film screen, screen surface. And so it's the use of THX approved and certified equipment that's pre-qualified. We know it works well in a well-engineered room.
I mean, I've been to quite a few screening rooms at trade floors, and we're sitting here right now, and you genuinely can barely hear the noise outside, and it is pretty noisy out there on the trade floor. So it's pretty impressive, sound isolation. So, I mean, am I correct in thinking that THX spec is less than NC20 for a screening room?
Yeah, our goal is actually to have less than NC20. We recommend that people design to an NC15 standard, but NC20 makes a lot of sense because if you're listening to a film, there's a lot of dynamics, particularly if there's low-level stuff in the film. People are whispering, there's environmental noise, Foley effects, raspling of clothes. If it's noisy in the room, you're never going to hear it. Yeah. So you want to be able to hear every detail in the mix.
Yeah, also, I could say this is without doubt the plushest screening room I've ever sat in as well. I mean, this really is like being in someone's home cinema, yeah, and in their home, it looks fantastic. So I guess this has been designed. If you've got the shape of the room, the height of the ceiling, the distance to the screen has all been designed from scratch. Right. I mean, what approach would you guys take if you were doing an installation in an existing environment that wasn't ideal? Maybe the shape of the room wasn't quite right. I mean, how would you get around those kind of factors in order to have it THX certified?
Well, we always start a process by going through a feasibility study to make sure that the room that the homeowner has selected for their theater is going to work. On occasion, it doesn't work, and we'll work with the integrators and the installers and companies like Epic to discuss solutions and how they can maybe modify the shape of the room so we do have a symmetrical room that's actually well suited for this type of environment.
Okay, and obviously the equipment being used, you've already mentioned some of it, Runco, Stewart, and obviously Prosella speakers. Sure. And amplification, what
Well, the Procellas, the main speakers, the left, center, and right, and all the subwoofers are powered.
Right.
So it's an active system. The surrounds that are in this room are passive speakers, and so we're using QSC amplifiers that are actually off of our approved equipment list for cinemas and studios. In this room, a couple QSC amplifiers.
And to get THX certification, you have to be up to 108 decibels without distortion for the main speakers and 115 for...
It's actually kind of a simple way of putting it is the reference sound pressure in the seating area is 85 decibels per channel, and there's 20 decibels of headroom above it. So we want to be able to produce 105 dB peaks in the listening area from each channel without distortion, and even a little more on the subwoofer because the bass energy from the LFE channel is higher than the bass energy from the main speakers. So the speakers themselves have to be able to produce a lot of output at 1 meter, so we know that at 4 or 5 meters away, when the sound level attenuates because of distance, that it's going to meet that requirement.
Okay, great. Also, I guess another thing is that house construction in the US is usually quite different from house construction in the UK. UK, we tend to be brick houses.
Sure.
I mean, in terms of doing an installation like this in a brick house, what approach would you take in terms of sound isolation, acoustic treatments, that kind of stuff?
Right. Well, first of all, the whole structure of the building, the room, gets built off the house with clearance all the way around. So it doesn't touch any of the rest of the house to transfer any vibrations or anything like that. So it literally is a room within inside of a house and freestanding of itself. So, you know, it doesn't matter what kind of room it's in, as long as we can keep that noise out. The construction of how it was built is irrelevant.
And then, Andrew, from the point of view of the video side of it, what are the specifications in terms of brightness, projector setup, that kind of stuff?
Well, generally we're looking for a range of at least 14 to 15 foot lamperts on screen. It's got to be able to produce the right white point and color space. Now, one of the interesting things that we've had conversations with people about, and the reason why we go down this path, is that if you look at a direct view display like a plasma or an LCD TV, the standard's for 35 foot lamperts. But when you look at content on a projection screen in a large room with controlled lighting, if it's set to 35 foot lamperts, it's going to be perceived as too bright. So we actually have the image less brightness on screen would be the right way to say it. So subjectively, you get the same impression of brightness as they had in the color correction suite when they're looking at the content on a direct view display.
Yeah, Andrew, so what would be the THX specifications for 3D projectors within a THX certified home cinema?
Right, we would first of all require that you use a system that has active shutter glasses. There's nothing physically wrong with the polarized light system, but you have to use a silver screen because the silver screen is non-depolarizing. That creates a lot of issues with illumination uniformity and brightness, and so we would require an active shutter system. Calibration is a little bit different because what happens when you're doing a 3D system, they actually color correct the content at a lower brightness level because you're multi-flashing the image, and so all those decisions pertaining to the color saturation are made at a lower light level. So we'd emulate that. Right now, in cinemas, it's at a very low level. It's a typically higher level for home direct view displays, but we'd be looking for around 5 to 6 foot lamperts per eye in a front projection system.
Okay, great. And one other thing I noticed is that there are 4 subwoofers within this this theatre. Sure. Now, what's the logic behind using 4 subwoofers for a THX certified setup?
Really, the goal is to, well, in all small rooms you got room modes, and room modes change the bass response. You can employ strategies we call destructive interference of placing the subwoofers in locations where you can drive the mode frequencies out of phase and cancel out the effects of those room modes. So we require in a THX certified screening room a minimum of 4 subwoofers, one placed behind the screen in the front, one placed in the back of the room, so we can drive the room modes that affect the front to back out of phase with each other and get rid of the room modes that way, and then 2 on the sides, or 1 on the left side, 1 on the right side, to have the same effect, to drive the sideway room modes out of phase. And ultimately the goal is to have the same or very similar bass response in every seat.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Andrew, and also to you, Mike. And I'm really looking forward to getting a demo in this incredible screening room. Join us again later for more coverage from CEDIA Expo 2010.